This program is brought to you by UCKG.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Love Talk Show. Let me start today's show by asking you this. What drives your relationship? Is it fear or is it love?
Whether they are aware of it or not, many people sabotage their relationships because of fear. They end up sabotaging the chance of having a healthy relationship.
That's right, Anna. And there are many things that are incompatible with love. And fear is definitely one of them. Because love and fear do not mix. And this applies to both the singles as well as to those in a committed relationship.
Fear will only bring other harmful feelings to your life, like insecurity and jealousy.
And you may even say, no, I am okay, I do not fear love. But your actions might be showing the exact opposite. You are probably not even conscious of the fact that you display this feeling of fear at times.
Or maybe you are, but you don't know what to do to fight it.
So these fears can manifest themselves in different ways or at different stages of a relationship. You just have to find their roots, right, Anna? So that you can be more open in regards to your love life in general, or become more investing in your current relationship.
Pay attention to what I will say now. Your biggest obstacle can be how you get in your own way. However, we are here today to help you with this. Remember, you are not alone.
Fear is a feeling that can make a person flourish or withdraw. Especially in the area of love life, it is natural to experience fear after an incident of trauma, of infidelity, or even after a breakup. It is also common for others to be afraid to fall in love and to possibly get hurt. This is based on the negative experiences they have seen with others, for example, their parents. However, to feed these negative feelings is to also rob yourself of the opportunity to be happy in a relationship. Giving in to the negatives can only bring about insecurity, inner emptiness, depression, and loneliness. The only way to experience true happiness in your love life is to overcome your fear.
So, as you could see in the video, there are many roots for fear. This could be due to a separation, trauma, or infidelity. There is also the fear of falling in love because of bad examples you may have seen in your family or among friends. But in spite of these, however, you can overcome all that and of course have a healthy love life.
We met 9 years ago during the holidays from university. I used to study with his cousin during high school and we were best friends. And his aunt actually thought it would be a good idea to introduce us.
Yeah.
Because she thought that we would be a good match.
And she was right. Yeah.
But to be fair, when we met, I actually didn't look at him twice. I said, well, it's just my best friend's crazy cousin. This isn't going nowhere. Little did I know, it went somewhere. Because we lived 500 kilometers apart. Then we traded MSN Messenger emails at the time. We started talking. 3 weeks later, we were basically in love. And he was set to come back when he arrived. We just looked at each other and it clicked. Dealing with a long-distance relationship at such a young age was hard because I had all these doubts and questions about, is it really going to work? How is it going to work? How can we make this work? And every night we would call each other and talk for about like 3 hours, 4 hours. Eventually we would sleep on the phone. It was hard, it was a trial, but I think that made us stronger, really.
It was hard, but it was rewarding. I mean,
Yeah.
when we saw each other, we wouldn't fight, we would not argue. We would just spend our time together and make the most of it. That was our goal. So that was what made us, I mean, strong.
Yeah, I mean, in 9 years, we've actually never had a fight, like a proper fight. We've had our disagreements, but because we think so much alike, we always manage to solve that like on the spot.
When I decided that I wanted to ask her to marry me, I was in a car with her mom. I'm thinking about asking your daughter in marriage. What do you think? She was really enthusiastic about it. That same day, we started talking about the wedding rings, how I was going to ask her, and what were my plans, and I just hadn't thought about anything at that point. I just knew I wanted to marry her. When I decided to propose, we had a travel scheduled for the end of the year to the United States. And since the whole family would be together, I thought that it would be a perfect opportunity to propose to her. I had 2 months to actually buy the rings, to involve everyone in the proposal, and I had to make sure that she wouldn't notice anything.
There were lots of people who already knew, and I had absolutely no idea. The thing is, when he did propose, we were in a very crowded place on the 25th of December, and I was having an anxiety attack because it was so crowded, and I didn't really want it to be where we were. But since we were in two families, a family of friends, my parents said, well, we're going there because they haven't met the place yet, so we're going to take them. And I said, well, why today? We know that today is going to be packed. When we were walking through the place, and he took my hand and he said, no, breathe, calm down, I'm going to make it worth the while. And I turned to him and I said, well, you're telling that to me or to yourself? And then when he actually started talking to me, you know, he had this nice speech about how we never usually plan things. And I was looking at him and saying, well, he's having an anxiety attack as well. In my head, I was going, I can't believe that. Why? Why does it have to happen? And then he opened the box and I looked at the box and said, well, wait, hang on a second. Wait, what? And then there were people walking behind us going, congratulations. And I thought, well,
What's happening?
why? What's happening? And that's how he proposed. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I'll marry you. We had been working on this idea for a while, but then we decided to actually take action and try and move out of the country. In the middle of my job search, a job opportunity in England came up. And I said, okay, so let's see. We both decided that it was something we were willing to try. Mm-hmm. If it didn't work out, it would be just an experience on our curriculums and we would go back home.
I'm actually really proud of her because, I mean, she alone, she herself managed to land a job in another country and was brave enough to give the word and and say, okay, let's do it, let's go, let's try it?
I mean, he was really supportive from the very start. When we arrived in the UK, it was a lot because it was a very different culture from what we used to. We basically didn't know anyone in the country. It's a lot to take in at the same time. And we arrived having to rush to find our own place. And so we had to, basically 3 weeks, get to know most of the city so we would know where to go, where not to go, where would be better because of my work. And it was a lot at the same time, but we had each other. So at the end of the day, we just look at each other and say, okay, take a deep breath. We're doing this.
We're doing great.
We're doing great. Pat ourselves on the back. Our routine has changed a lot from what it was. He works from home. I spend a lot of time outside the house and I tend to get really stressed at work. And when I come back, I have a good place to come back to because I know he's there and he's going to listen to me. I don't really think that our relationship has changed since we moved in. We're pretty much the same united couple. If anything, we're just stronger. Communication is a very important thing for any couple, married or not. And in the past 9 years, we have been doing that pretty well. And not just like verbal communication, but we have learned how to read each other's expressions really well. So I think that one of the reasons why we don't usually have fights, we have minor disagreements that we solve really quickly, it's because we can look at each other and say, okay, so they're not in a good mood, they're not feeling well, and we know what to do to support each other.
Sharing the same goals, sharing the same beliefs.
Yeah.
That pretty much shaped our relationship since the beginning. And again, that's what makes us strong as a couple and as friends. And she always will be my best friend.
Oh, you too. Since we moved, we've had such a busy routine, such busy days. So now we're going to go around with you and explore around and get to know new places together.
After the break, we have some very important tips that we would like to share with you on what you can do to overcome fear and let love prevail in your relationship. Right after this.
Welcome back. Is your relationship driven by fear or by love? This is our topic today. If your answer is fear, we have some important tips for you.
And by the way, Anna, these tips are not only for singles. It is important to highlight that just because you are in a relationship, that does not necessarily mean that you do not have fears or that you are not affected by them. Maybe the problems you have with your partner are because of your irrational fear. So we're going to talk about this now. We're going to go for some tips. And the first tip is recognize the fears and face the causes. Anna, when someone has an issue, be it fear, addictions, whatever issue it could be, the worst thing that they can do, in my opinion, is to be in denial, is to say, no, this is not an issue to me, I'm okay, when clearly it is an issue. It's not a shame to recognize an issue, to admit, yes, I have weaknesses. I have weaknesses. You have weaknesses. You, viewer, you have weaknesses. And it's not ugly. It's not a sign of weakness to recognize that you have weaknesses and that fear may be among them, right? And I think this is the first step one needs to take if they are to overcome the issue of fear or any other issue.
Yes, and if they don't know why they fear, or the person or about the partner, they are not going to anywhere. The problem is always going to be there, and more problems will come because of the fear, but they are not going anywhere.
Yeah, because when you recognize, this is an issue to me. So you start then to identify what are the things that you are doing that are hurting the relationship. And you start to say, okay, this kind of behavior is going to be, it's not rational. That's why we mentioned irrational fear. For instance, because there is the fear that is rational. I should be afraid of breaking the law. Why? Because the consequences is I'm going to go to jail. I can pay a fine. There will be problems. I should be afraid of crossing the red light because I can hurt someone or I can get hurt myself. But there is the irrational fear, right? I remember, Anna, hearing about a couple where they came for counseling once. Wasn't, with me. It was another counselor who spoke about this to me. And that where the couple were, upset with one another and asking, I think we should, separate. We want to get the divorce. Married couple, by the way. And, the advisor was saying, but, you should remember when, you loved one another. And they say, yeah, they do. We do remember. And then they said, but what is the problem? Then the man said, sorry, but I cannot stand her. Every single day I arrive home from work, she's sniffing the collar of my shirt. She's checking my pockets. She wants to see my mobile. And where were you? She calls me all the time. And that. So, she's mothering me. There's only so much that one can take. And as that advisor dug more and more, he found out that it was the third marriage already. And the reason the previous two marriages failed was because of infidelity. But this man now, this husband was faithful to her. Yeah. So it was the fear. She was projecting these other two failed relationships on one that was working. Yeah. And she was ruining it.
Yeah, there was a root over there. And then they need to treat the root. Yes. Why is this coming from? Where is this coming from?
That's right.
So if they don't treat the root, so the problems will probably finish.
Yeah. One could say, oh no, the problem is that you're too suspicious on me. Yeah, that's the problem you see.
We'd see.
But the root was found as questions were asked. So we are speaking about recognizing that fear is an issue to you. Recognize that there are certain behaviors that you will need to change because of this fear if you intend to be happy as an individual and in the relationship, right? Yes. And get help, of course. There's no shame also, Anna, in admitting that we need help, right? And going for help. That's why we're here. Actually, Anna, the only intention of the Love Talk show is to offer help.
Yes.
Right? You can watch previous shows, see our previous topics we spoke about on our YouTube channel. You have full-length episodes available. You can write an email to us. Write to us. The email appears here on your screen. Take a pen, paper, take a photo there with your mobile phone of the screen. Write down this email address. Write to us.
Don't be fearful.
Don't be afraid,
Don't
right?
be afraid
To reach out.
to get
Don't be
right
afraid
to
of,
us.
you know, there's people who are afraid of asking for help.
Yes, many people. And then the fear and the problems end up with the marriage or the relationship.
And they say, no, but you know, I'm afraid of what people are going to say. And maybe you're afraid of facing the truth. But let me tell you something. You know deep within, the only way to get rid of a fear is to confront it. And you know that. And maybe you're trying to avoid this confrontation, but at some point, if you decide to do it, you're going to be so much happier. Anyhow, we're going to go now to the second tip. And the second tip that we are going to give you is this one you see on the screen right now. Very important one, by the way. It is break down the emotional wall. Break down the emotional wall. Fear causes, it builds a wall, isn't it, Anna?
And when you are driven by emotions, you cannot think properly. You're just, that fear consumes you. And you don't have the right decision, don't speak the right words. Maybe you say the harmful words, and that
you try to protect yourself, and you're not really protecting yourself, and you're hurting your partner at the same time, as you mentioned. I think, and I believe that fear, when it comes to emotions, is one of the worst ones, right? It does build walls. You know, because of fear, sometimes people, they don't open up. Because when they opened up to someone, they, you know, became disappointed that somebody took what they said and spread it to others.
They say words that later on they'll regret, right?
It's difficult to relate to someone who is driven by fear, isn't it? Because you're trying to, you know, say to that person, come on, you know, you perceive, the other one perceives this distance, this wall between them and tries to reach out. But the other one, no, it's kind of like, I need to be inside this bubble. I feel safe in this bubble. No, you're not safe. You're not safe because you're living with these horrible emotions inside that are making you unhappy. And maybe what is hurting you is something that isn't happening anymore. Anna, there's people being affected by the fear of what happened years ago. And the only thing that is hurting them now is the memory. But for some reason, they cling to these memories as if it was a good thing to do. When actually, you know, it's a decision.
And
sorry, hold that thought for a second, because I need to conclude this. I know that you cannot control the emotions that come to you. I know that. But you can decide not to pay attention to the emotions that are not helping you. I need to say this, please pay close attention. It's not a coincidence that you have your brain above your heart. So it's mind over feelings. And don't say that you cannot overcome the fear or anger or a resentment or whatever negative emotion is that, because you can. The power is in you. You have this power. Maybe you need some guidance on learning how to tap into this power. A power of deciding, I can beat this. And it takes perseverance, it takes training, but you can do this. All right? But you overcome fear when you make rational decisions instead of just telling yourself, no, this is too much. I can't handle this. Oh, it's too much for me, it's too hard. I know that maybe this is what you've been thinking and saying, but you need to change this. You need to break this record, you know? Remember those vinyl records? Yeah, break this one and program yourself to listen to a different kind of music. The one that says, I can do it, I can overcome. And maybe you need help. That's fine. but you can overcome. And I just had to say this because this is important. People need to understand they can overcome this.
Yes, and while they are involved in this emotion that's feeding the fear, they are stuck. They are looking the past because of bad traumas and bad relationships, but they cannot move forward.
Yes.
They are stuck.
Stuck in a rut because of this. So break down these walls. Start to send signs to your partner that you trust. Come out of your bubble, come out of your comfort zone and start trusting more. All right? You will see the great good it will do to yourself and to your relationship. And why don't you read the tip number 3?
Yes, the next one is learn to trust your partner and yourself for the relationship to be truly wholesome. Right?
So, yes.
So I have an experience like this to share with our viewers because I came, my childhood was very abusive. The marriage of my parents were very bad. Mm-hmm. But then as I grew up, came those fears. I'm going to marry someone that's going to do the same with my mother. Many questions in my mind. But then I strengthened myself. I start believing myself and decide that my future is not going to be like my mom's. Do you understand?
Right.
The marriage of my. But it was a decision that I took for myself. No, I don't.
And these feelings came to you.
Yes,
right?
yes.
The thoughts came.
Yes,
you know that your life could be a repeat of the bad experience that you saw at home. And you know, also making another revelation here at the Love Talk Show. One of the things that attracted me to Ana the most when I met her is as I got to find out about her story, her life story, the difficult upbringing and the bad relationship with her parents, but the fact that she believed in love and she believed that things could be different with her. And whatever she saw, the very bad things that you don't need to share here now, maybe one day, you know, to tell your story, didn't affect the faith you had in love and in yourself, right? This is something that was extremely attractive. I said, this is the kind of person that I need by my side. Because if she could beat this, you know, I wanna go out there and make a difference and help people. And this is the kind of person that I need by my side. So that was a huge plus. That was a huge plus, right? So you need to trust. You need to trust that things can be different. You need to trust the person you're with. Unless you're seeing clear signs not to, stop distrusting, right? And sometimes, Ana, sometimes there are signs, clear signs that the other one is not to be trusted. The evidence is there, clear, plain to see, and people are turning a blind eye to this, which is wrong. But there are other times where there's nothing going on, the person is 1 minute late from work, or they took one phone call and someone's already saying, oh, who is this? Oh, what's going on?
These fears make the person to imagine things.
Oh, yes, and it's
all
horrible.
The time.
I'm telling you, sorry, well, you know, with all due respect to everyone, but I could not be, if you were like this, I could not be in a relationship with you. We would not be together. Checking my phone all the time, asking me, where were you all the time? Calling me, you know, 25 times a day. I come home and you're checking my pocket. Oh my goodness. Come on, right? I mean, nobody deserves this. So if this is going on, if you're obsessed with this, if you just can't help it, you need to get help. Because you can change. You don't need to be like this. You can be happy without this kind of behavior. But if this is what you're doing, of course, maybe it's not as extreme as I'm saying here, but you see that at times you go overboard. Sometimes you see that you are exaggerating in some questions and in your actions. So we encourage you to get help. Once again, help is available. You can write to us. You can watch more programs here on the internet, right? You can interact with us. It will be a pleasure to hear from you. Now, we're going to go for a break, but don't go anywhere. Up next, we have a lot of good things to show you still here on this episode of the Love Talk Show, right after this. Hello, dear viewer. We are here and we came in the middle of the break to tell you this. The best way for you to learn how to deal with your relationship problems, Anna, is to learn how to deal with
ourselves. If you don't know how to deal with yourself, you don't know how to deal with others.
That's right. That's why we have the Love Therapy. Every Thursday at 8 p.m. in Finsbury Park, 232 Seven Sisters Road, N4, 3NX, and also in some other locations. For more information, visit our website, lovetherapy.co.uk. See you there.
See you. Welcome back. When was the last time you and your partner had a date, going out to do something, or just have a time of two of you? When was the last time you were focused on each other?
Yes, and if your answer is, I don't even remember, or we don't do that anymore, this is why, and the reason why many people, many couples actually, Anna, start to grow apart, right? When they stop paying attention to this very important moment, being together.
It doesn't have to be a fancy date. Remember what we always said on the show. A small gesture can convey a huge meaning.
I totally agree with this. However, dear viewer, if you are out of ideas, we are here to help you. Guess what? Just take a note of the ideas that we will bring to you now, and we regularly do it, on the Trip for Two segment. Let's take a look at today's suggestion.
Hi, Anna and Edward.
Hi.
It's me, Maureen, and he's my husband.
My name is Kyle.
So just thank you so much for inviting us to coming over to the Love Talk show today. I mean, we've been doing, it's a great experience for us to have fun and do stuff that we'd enjoy and stuff like that.
I mean, we've had a lovely day here at the park today. It's just been really nice, and what can I say? It's just been nice to kind of talk and just to get to relax, you know?
We've been married for about, what, like 4 months now?
It's been 4 months, yeah. Time flies.
It does fly. I don't know, it just felt like yesterday that we got married, really.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I loved our wedding.
You love our wedding?
Yeah, it was nice. The sun, people
Yeah.
around us and everything, and it was just, honestly, I felt so blessed to be there.
Yeah. But do you feel like there's been any differences, like from dating and being married now? Do you feel like there's any like differences now?
Yeah, there have been quite a few. I mean,
I don't know, I don't feel that way though.
What? No.
I think it's because, like, when we were dating, we were very open with one another. We talked and everything, we spent time. So I don't really see a huge difference. Do you see a huge difference? Or?
I don't see, let's say, a huge difference, but there are things I've had to kind of adjust to. I think because now that we live together, it's completely different. I mean, for example, we have to get used to how we live, and you would do things differently from me.
Yeah.
And it's really like I get to see you for who you are. It's kind of like
what are you trying to say? I don't look like
no,
this.
No. Dating is kind of like it's kind of like a trial period where you get to see the best of the person, but then when you get married, you really get to see how that person is. Because if you wake up at 3 a.m. and the other person's sleeping next to you, you're not going to see them as this like prim and proper image of them. They're just going to be very much themselves.
Right. For me, in terms of us being married now and dating, I think just getting used to the dynamic,
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like very mature as well? Because now you have to think about someone else. Like, for example, I was with my friends the other day, and I'm like, oh, I need to text Kyle to make sure he's eating, to make sure there's food. I need to text him, and my friends were like, oh, that's so cute. Whereas for them, they were just there having a good time and stuff like that. So.
I definitely think that when we were dating and shifting into marriage, I've definitely matured a lot as a person.
Yeah.
Because it's not just me anymore, it's you that I have to take care of as well. And so, yeah, that's why I work hard, put bread on the table.
I think for me, I've loved how much we've gelled as well.
Yeah.
I've seen actually something I do have to highlight. When we were dating, I felt like you're a lot more calmer, you're a lot more understanding and everything. But now, if you're upset, you tell me you're upset, you show. And I'm like, I'm not used to this. When we were dating, you were still like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah, I've learned to kind of like express myself more as well. And that's one thing that I did struggle with before. So you've honestly helped me a lot. And yeah, what can I say? I mean, you've also changed a lot as well. You've changed.
In what way?
In what way? First of all, I get to eat your cooking as much as I can, and it's delicious.
Oh God.
But honestly, you've just changed into being an absolutely amazing woman in general. Like the way you carry yourself, the way you act, the way you treat situations, and when I'm feeling down, you're able to lift me up and like push me up. And
you're absolutely right.
That means a lot to me.
Yeah. I think for me, it's also I've just learned a lot of empathy as well. Because it took me time to understand you, because I feel like you're not as vocal, and I'm very vocal about my feelings, and you know, and you're not vocal. So for me, I'm like, oh, why are you like that? Express yourself. But then I've had to understand that not everyone can be like that. You know, some people like to be calm, and I think you've taught me that for sure. And it's taken a lot of energy to be like, oh, it's okay, I understand.
I know your feelings, seriously. But yeah, like honestly, I think we've just balanced each other out. You're more of the outgoing one, I'm more of the calm one. Yeah. But then we've kind of taken from each other, so it's like I've become more outgoing and more.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
And I've been more calmer as well. I'm at home a lot more. But I think it's nice that we have a day like this to come to the park and do stuff like this, because like a lot of the times you have been working, and I have more of a flexible shift, isn't it? So
and it's just kind of like you need that time apart to just time apart, but time together.
Come together.
You need that time to kind of invest on a regular basis. It doesn't stop at dating, but what I learned is that you need to invest even more when it comes to marriage, because it's so easy to get caught up in my job and your job, and then we're coming home, we're tired and we sleep.
It's like the other day when I said to you, I feel like I haven't seen you. It sounds like a crazy thing, isn't it?
It's
because
true, but you
live
seen
together.
For a day.
Yeah, exactly. Because we live together and we're married, but it's like a lot of the times work can get so involved, and you're working 9 to 5 and you have to think about the commute. By the time you come home, you just want to eat, rest. Do you know what I mean? So we've not had time to really come together. And I like the fact that it doesn't have to be only on the weekends. Like we can make time during the week as well to like do something, which is really fun. You should like spin me around.
Spin you around. Spin. Spin.
My baby.
My question for you was, what is it like the most lovely quality you see in me?
I mean, I think for me it's, you know, you're quite rational.
Yeah.
Like if there were to be a situation, you're normally the calm one, and you'd normally say, let's calm down, let's think, how can we go forward from here? Yeah. If I'm stressing about it, especially. I like how you always keep like your calmness about things. Yeah. Yeah, I really like that about you. It's nice to have that, do you know what I mean, that difference, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And in terms of me,
in terms of you,
what's the lovely quality that you like?
I love your endearing attitude, how you've just really grown to be so caring and supportive over the time.
Can you be no romantic?
Can I say? Today's been a really nice day though. I mean, this park is really nice, and it's just been nice to kind of connect again, you know?
And you know, I don't just want to wait for the weekend for us to do something, you know? Yeah. I want us to do something midweek, and I know it's a lot, like to make that time. Yeah. And I think that's do you think that's why some people take marriage for granted, because they feel like, oh, but I live with the person now, so it's fine.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's pretty much the case. People do take marriage for granted. Yeah. But let's just continue to have days like this, really, yeah?
Yeah. So today has been a great day.
Yeah, it has.
It's nice to have stuff like this, you know?
It really is. I mean, we got a lot done as well.
Yeah, I was saying that I never pictured I'll be on here, because I remember a few years ago, I I think 2 years ago, you were actually on the Love Talk on the panel.
Oh yeah.
Single but not for long. And I saw you, I'm like, oh, who's that guy on that panel?
It's funny because just after that, that's when we started speaking.
That's when we met?
Yeah, we met, we started dating, and now we're here, the trip for two from the Love Talk team. I can't, like, seriously, it's just amazing.
I'm feeling a lot more tired now.
Same here.
Should we get going?
Yeah, let's get going.
Wow. Thank you, Anna and Edward, for inviting us. Why did it sound as if you forgot what you were saying?
I did. I did.
You're so funny.
We hope that you enjoyed that and you are inspired to plan your next date with your spouse.
What we're gonna do now is we have to go for a break. Don't go anywhere, because if this show is helping you so far, I guarantee you, the best is yet to come, right after this.
What have you been feeding your thoughts lately? We are all aware that what we see, think, and hear can lead our minds to either good or bad outcomes. But you can always choose the best content to invest in your spiritual life and feed your soul. Liberty Radio, you are what you listen to.
Dear viewer of the Love Talk Show, did you know that you can watch full-length episodes now via our YouTube channel? All you have to do, Anna, is to find the Love Talk Show YouTube channel, subscribe. You're going to find all our episodes there in full length, and you can watch for free. You can even copy the link and share with family and friends. But not only that,
You also in the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, follow us, like, share and comment.
and also don't forget to visit our website, lovetalkshow.tv. There you're going to find even more information that you will not see here on the TV show. And also you can write your questions. Send us your questions to the email questions@lovetalkshow.tv. All right, we love to hear from you. Let's continue watching Love Talk Show. Welcome back to the Love Talk Show. Our topic today is your relationship driven by fear or by love? And we now come to a very important segment on the show, which is called Real Love Life Stories. I am certain that the story of this lady, this couple actually, will inspire you. Her name is Teresa, and it's the true love story, Anna, right? That people don't get to see every day, isn't it?
No, I know her story and bringing tears to my eyes.
Yes, you have followed her story,
Yes,
right?
yes.
She's very, very well known to us, and we are certain her story will touch you, will inspire you, and will strengthen you. So stop whatever you're doing, even if you're there washing the dishes or whatever, you stop now. Take a look at your screen. Follow this together with us.
I met with my late husband, Emil, actually in Uganda, our home country, in 1979. He was in the first year of theology, training to become a priest, a Catholic priest. I was also in the second year of my training to become a sister. So when we met, we fell in love. But the bishop then was not very happy because he did not want us to leave that. So he threatened my husband and said if he ever got married to me, it would end up in disaster. Emil got scared, so he said, okay, Teresa, let's leave it for now. But he said, I cannot become a priest if you are in the convent, because I just love you. So he left the seminary and then went to teach in a secondary school. And at this point, the war in Uganda was breaking up. He had to run to the Sudan for safety, and from there he continued teaching in a secondary school, teaching the refugees children. And then the UNHCR saw his potential and sent him to the UK for studies. So when he came here for studies, he started looking for where I was. And at this point, I was in Tanzania doing a course in journalism when I got the first letter from him. I was so excited. He did not have a leave to remain here, so he couldn't invite me. And I was in the convent. I was a sister then. But fortunately, in '97, I was sent for studies to the UK. I stayed here for 2 years without communicating to him because I wasn't sure what would happen if I did. But eventually, I communicated to him in '97, and we met, and that was it. Everything came back to where it was before. At the meantime, he told me that while he was here, he met many, many beautiful girls who were really interested in marrying him. And he said that he was encouraged to get married to them. And there was this particular lady, the parents were willing to marry them and to buy them their first property to set them in. And he almost bought the idea, but at the last minute, he remembered me and said, I can't get married. And so when we met in 1997, we then reconnected, and I finished my studies in 2000. And then after 2000, I resigned from the convent and we lived together with him. We had a wonderful, wonderful time for those 2 years. And then in 2002, we decided to get married. And unfortunately, 2 months after, he got a brain hemorrhage and then a stroke. It was a big trauma. And I kept on asking, why did he wait for 20 years and nothing happened? And as soon as I came into his life, he got ill. And it was very emotional. I had no right to financial help because I wasn't having a leave to remain in this country officially. So I used to work, I had to take care of him. We had no close relatives here, so I had to be taking care of him. And then I was getting threats from the hospital, put your husband in a nursing home and just move on. I said, move on where? This is my husband. I cannot put him in a nursing home. So they tried everything in their part to try to frustrate me. I didn't give up. So I brought him home. And then I took care of him at home. And after 15 years of caring for him, I remember this fateful night. I was so grateful to that doctor because he had been in and out of hospital. My husband was a fighter. Many times he'd go to the hospital and they would say, that's it, he's not gonna make it. But he would make it. I remember at 2 a.m., the doctor called me and said, your husband's breathing has changed. Can you come to the hospital? And I jumped out of bed, got the nearest bus, and I reached the hospital running because I remembered saying, I have to be there because if I'm not there, even at the last minute, he can allow sadness to get in and lose his soul. So I was with him and I stayed with him for 5 hours. During those 5 hours, I did everything. I sang for him the love songs we used to sing together. I sang for him everything I could sing. I talked to him, and I remember the last time I told him, I said, you know, Amy, I love you very much, but there's someone who loves you more, and that's your maker. So if he wants to take you, don't be afraid, because one day we shall meet. So I sat down, I was holding his hands, and then I felt him a gentle squeeze. I said, oh, Amy, you are squeezing my hands. Not realizing actually he was saying goodbye and going. and then he died. But I was happy because I was with him. He loved me, and even on his sick bed, he always defended and protected me. He always cared for me. He always really respected me. He was my soulmate. We used to go to places, we used to go to cinemas. Even here in London, we used to go bus rides, everywhere. It was the love that kept me all these years of taking care of him. People sometimes think that it's easy just to go and leave the person you spent your time with for greener pastures. It can never be green. Love is love.
It's very inspiring to watch Teresa's story. It makes us think about our own lives and if the arguments we have with our spouse are worth the trouble. It also makes us think about whether the things that upset us are really that important and if the fears we have could be fought and overcome.
That's true. So we have to say goodbye for today. Our time is now due. However, we hope that you have learned today something valuable, not only for your love life in terms of overcoming fear, but also for your personal life in being a better person altogether, right? So practice what you have learned today, and for sure you'll be a much happier person. This is it for us today, but remember, true love casts out all fears. Everything depends on your actions. Use your mind above your emotions. Love intelligently. The biggest difference between success and failure is perseverance. Students give up on education once they fail. Employees quit their job once they have difficulties with their employers. Spouses give up on their relationship once they don't agree with each other and everything turns into a fight. However, do you know that you can work everything out if you have perseverance? Nothing that is good is easy in life. You have to work hard to achieve your dreams. I believe giving up is not something you want to do. Am I right? Success is not automatic in any area of our lives, including in our marriage. You as a couple have the power to choose if you will be happily married or miserable and maybe even get divorced. Everybody dreams of the love of their life, the one that will be with you forever. But for this to be true, the key to a relationship success does not lie in dinners in expensive restaurants or in holidays in luxury resorts. You have to know one thing. In marriage, small things do matter, such as attention. We all need attention. It is in our nature to feel wanted. Having someone paying attention to us can make us feel loved and secure. But when this attention is taken away from us, we might be thinking whether our partner still loves us or not. However, attention should never be something you have to beg for. Love is about small things. Little things can mean a lot in a relationship, such as giving your partner a compliment, saying how beautiful she is before going to work, covering up one another with a blanket before going to sleep, cooking together, doing nothing together, falling asleep on each other's shoulders, sending a random "I miss you," comforting one another, watching a movie cuddled up in the bed, having breakfast together. making small surprises, helping one another, recognizing your partner's accomplishments, and expressing gratitude. Sometimes, these little things become non-existent. It might sound odd to say this, but no one has marital problems until they do. And you end up asking yourself, I don't know how this happened. We were getting along so well. Many times we don't know what we have until it's gone, until you have no one waiting for you when coming back from work, until you have no one to say good morning to, until you have no one to say, I love you to. We lose that person who means so much to us only because we just stopped paying attention to the things that seem so small. When your partner calls you during the day, do you say how happy you are to hear his or her voice? Or do you just say how busy you are and you have more important things to do? When your partner is concerned about something, do you sit by their side and tell them that everything is going to be okay, you will always be there for them? Or do you just not care? When you are at home, sitting on the sofa watching TV, you just do it by yourself? Or do you say, honey, do you want to watch something with me? Let's choose a series together. So remember this, it doesn't matter how hard it gets or even how much you argue, you are always on the same team. Keep the small things alive. Don't lose them, because those brief moments together are the most important ones in our lives. Never stop investing in your relationship. It won't be good without effort and dedication. Love intelligently. Thanks for watching today. Until next week, bye-bye.
See you.
This program is brought to you by UCKG.